Sometimes everything falls apart not with shouting or slamming doors, but with silence. Not a fight, not a betrayal caught red-handed. Just a dinner, a glance, a single sentence spoken like it was nothing. It was a Thursday night. Nothing special. The kind of evening we'd had 100 times before. My son Justin had just turned 11. He was upstairs, headphones on, working through some homework while dinner cooled on the table below. Rosalie and I sat across from each other, forks in hand, food untouched. But something was different, off in a way I couldn't name yet. The air between us was dense. Not with tension, with distance. Deliberate practice distance. She wasn't crying. She wasn't trembling. There was no trace of the woman who used to reach for my hand during these quiet moments. She was calm. Almost too calm. Then she said it. Not as a question. Not as a discussion. I think we should try an open marriage. 7 words. Delivered like she was suggesting we repaint the living room. And blinked. My mind couldn't catch up fast enough. Come again? I asked, though I'd heard her perfectly. She leaned back, her voice level, her face unreadable. Some space. A little freedom. Might help. Could even bring us closer. But what she was really saying, what she wasn't bothering to say out loud, was that she had already left. She had moved on emotionally, mentally, maybe even physically. And now she was giving me the courtesy of catching up. I could have demanded answers. Ooh. When? Why? But I didn't. Not because I didn't care, but because I already knew what I'd see in her eyes if I pushed. Nothing. No remorse. No fear of losing me. Just that same placid detachment. She stood up, carried her plate to the sink, and walked away like our life together was a TV show she'd grown bored of watching. The next day she didn't speak to me. Didn't look at me. Just sipped her coffee and scrolled through her phone. Her wedding ring glinting in the morning light like it belonged to someone else. The silence continued, not accidental but crafted. It was a wall, one I wasn't meant to climb. First I tried to believe it was temporary. Rough patch. Stress. No. But hope is a fragile thing. And it died a little more each time she left for a girls' night out, dressed in clothes she hadn't worn in years, eyes gleaming not with guilt but with excitement. Each time she came home past sunrise smelling like someone else's cologne and offering no explanation, I understood a little more. She wasn't coming back. Not to me. Not to us. And yet she never said the words. That's what made it so devastating. There was no scream, no fight to mark the ending. Just the steady erosion of meaning. And when our son looked up at me one evening, fork paused in midair and asked, "Why doesn't Mom eat with us anymore?" That was the sound of the world collapsing. Not loudly, but precisely, quietly, like a controlled demolition. Brick by brick, room by room. I wanted to rage. But I didn't. I wanted to cry. But the tears wouldn't come. Because when something breaks this silently, it doesn't shatter. It dissolves. Nights became lonelier. She stopped pretending to hide it. Her laughter at midnight, glowing screen in her hand, messages to someone else, someone who brought her joy in a way I no longer could, became part of the background noise of our home. I lay next to her in bed, watching her smile at her phone, knowing that smile wasn't mine to receive anymore. And still she never asked me to leave. Maybe she thought I'd just endure it forever. That I'd stay quiet, resigned. That I'd keep being the backdrop to her new life. The man who paid the bills and watched the child while she lived a separate, thrilling existence. But what she didn't realize was that silence is a double-edged sword. Doesn't just destroy relationships, it creates clarity. So I started planning my exit, not with rage but with purpose. Kept track of her absences, of the nights she didn't come home, of the texts I wasn't meant to see, the conversations she had stopped bothering to hide. I documented everything because when I left, I wanted the truth to speak louder than any accusation. I transferred jobs, found an apartment for Justin and me. Quiet, peaceful. And then one morning before the sun rose and before she stirred, I packed our lives into the trunk of my car. Clothes, papers, memories. What mattered What I was taking with me. What I was leaving behind. On the counter I left an envelope. Inside the divorce papers. At the top, a note in my handwriting. I hope you find the freedom you were chasing. By the time she found it, we were gone. She didn't call. Didn't message. Didn't ask where we were or if Justin was okay. Her first response came through a lawyer. She wanted money. Compensation. Payment for the years she had checked out of. Not once did she ask about her son. Not once did she pretend to care about the family she discarded. But by then it didn't matter. Because sometimes things fall apart not with an explosion, but with a whisper. And sometimes the quietest ending is the most final of all.